Each time we get a new case for heroin overdoses, kids are getting younger and younger.
Everyone happens to know somebody who's using heroin, but nobody talks about it and nobody addresses it.
It's here, we can't bury our heads, we need to address it, and we need to educate our children.
You know, it's reaching all ages, all genders. It's not necessarily out just in the city anymore, it's out here in our community in St. Charles County.
But the kids all have access to it.
Because of the availability and the pricing of it, people are always looking for that new and next high, the better high.
And unfortunately, you know, it can be lethal.
My enemy is heroin, and I underestimated this, and it beat me, and it took my daughter's life.
Every day in the United States, 4,000 children and young adults start experimenting with prescription drugs. Abusing these opiates can lead to experimentation with one of the deadliest opiates of all, heroin. It's a rising problem in St. Charles County, and it's even affecting us here in O'Fallon, both on the streets and in our schools. The Vigna family is in many ways a perfectly typical family. Guy Vigna runs her own business here in O'Fallon, and her daughter Brittany is concerned with life after college. But they're also dealing with a terrible tragedy, one no family should face, yet is becoming more and more common throughout the United States.
We lost our daughter, Nikki Vigna, January 3rd to a heroin overdose, and we had no idea, and when we first found out that she had gotten involved with this, we had no idea that she was using heroin.
Nikki Vigna struggled with her addiction over the next few years, but every time she got clean, it seemed like she fell back into bad habits. It's a vicious cycle that plays out for every heroin user.
It's the effects that it has on your brain. It's highly addictive, and not per se just the drug itself, but what it does inside your body. It affects your limbic system, which is your rewards center. So what happens is, normally when you get something to eat, when your body tells you you're hungry, instead of telling your body that you're hungry, it tells your body that you need more heroin.
Avoiding withdrawal keeps heroin users hooked, but as money runs out, many heroin users turn to crime to get their next fix. And because heroin is now cheaper than marijuana, it's easier than ever for our kids to get. After losing Nikki, Guy found out just how prevalent an issue heroin really is.
I was always a walker, and so I was walking throughout the neighborhood, and I just printed up a shirt that just said "Stop Heroin" and started walking. And I had a neighbor stop me one day, and she told me then that her son had been involved with this for the past 12 years. And the next day I started walking, and another neighbor stopped me and told me that her nephew had been involved with this for 3 years.
After that, the Vignas had found a way to turn their personal tragedy into a way to help other families. They created a page on Facebook, and soon they were being contacted by families throughout the country.
Whenever I started the page, it was just basically our family and friends started liking it. But after our first walk, people that we didn't even know had just seen us on the streets and literally just Googled us and found our Facebook page. After our first walk, we had 75 new likes, which is crazy. It was within an hour.
A whole community sprung up around their walks as people were finally finding their voice about the way heroin had torn their families apart. But with troubling new statistics coming out of the Drug Enforcement Administration, they knew they had to reach a younger audience.
DEA reported a 13-year-old as a full-blown heroin addict, so obviously if it's reaching 13-year-olds, we need to come to the middle schools and inform them that it's okay to say no, and that it will grip your life even if you just try it once.
The Vignas teamed up with the Fort Zumwalt School District and the DEA to perform talks at our middle schools to help stop heroin addiction before it starts. It's a message that our school district officials really believe in.
Once someone starts with heroin, then there's no backing out of that gracefully. And so I believe that kids haven't or don't know the ramifications of the addiction factor. So I think we're just kind of sitting ducks, and our families are, and that's again why we want to get the word out.
And for all of you, don't be afraid to say something about it. Don't be afraid to say, stop heroin. We need to stop it. It is a problem.
Brittany is also working with Dr. Carter to produce educational segments on substance abuse, which can be found on the district's webpage. She and her mom have come a long way from their first walk in memory of Nikki, but their journey isn't over until every family has heard their message.
Not even once.
That's
Yeah.
not even once.
Not even once. It's not something that you can, what I always tell kids is that heroin is not a social drug. You cannot go out and you cannot try it one time and you're addicted.
If you need help, want to join a walk, or just need someone to talk to, visit www.stopheroin.org and the Fort Zumwalt School District homepage. Talk with your family about the risks of heroin, open the discussion, and don't let addiction continue to be a silent threat in our community.